welcome back to Speed Freak Garage, home of power sports on YouTube. Today is just another status update on our 1987 Porsche 944 5.3 liter LS swap, nicknamed Porsche McPorscheface. So first of all, let's just review our custom front off-road racing suspension, courtesy of Watt Suspension. That's W-A-T suspension. They have a hill climb championship under their belt. So when I brought them a request, they were happy to help. And we've got a ton of droop for a very, very low price of $1,000 per corner. And if that sounds expensive, most rally suspension is more than $2,000 per corner. So I got a great deal on some race-proven coilovers. Only on the front. The rear is a whole nother monster, so you can see that droop, and we're not actually binding anything, so the coilover does not allow binding, which I honestly was worried about that. You can see I had them cut the coilover at a little angle down there to clear the lower control arm. Now when I'm working on making my own custom tubular control arms with spherical bearings, because these aren't going to survive. Like, that ball joint will fucking blow out, you know, pretty much on the first day of any off-roading I do. So I've got custom control arms in the works, and there's already been videos about that, but this will just barely clear that custom control arm when it's done, which was part of the design. So yeah. Now we got the car back from Ecotech back while my shoulder was still healing and I was unable to move, which is why the car hasn't been touched until now, because breaking my shoulder delayed everything by a solid 3 months minimum. So what Ecotech did for me is they welded up this very, very, very strong support brace to protect this low radiator. Because this radiator, as you can see, so here's the OEM, the bottom of the OEM radiator, and there's 2 inches more, and it's supposed to be an off-road car, so normally you go the other way, but I just don't have the money to relocate the radiator. So they built me this protective bar which will actually hold the skid plate in place also. I just haven't made it that far yet. So here's a skid plate bar here, which they helped me build an adapter to lower the skid plate down to match the new radiator, and same back here. So I need to put in the oil cooler. I don't know where to put the thing. I mean, you can see the lines, as we talked about before. The lines come from the diversion block or whatever, the adapter block, and then we have 2 choices. We can bring the line forward on the inside of this and up front and mount the oil cooler like right here in front of the radiator. And it'll be safe behind these bars. Or we can mount the oil cooler up and give it a hood scoop so it doesn't interfere with the cooling power of the radiator. Because one of the concerns on putting an LS in such a small engine bay is the cooling potential. And we definitely don't want to overheat the engine and blow a head gasket, but you also don't want to overheat the oil. So there's really no winning. Now, one of the most awesome things that Ecotech has done for me is this beautiful TIG welded stainless exhaust. So I brought them some parts and pieces, and they TIG welded up with pie cuts a free-flowing exhaust. And so what I did is I basically said, I need this to have maximum ground clearance. So just do whatever you got to do. And so they brought it in. We were originally going to do an X pipe right here, but we would have lost too much ground clearance. So they brought it in, they Y piped it to a big, big, deep, rumbly muffler. That's actually the muffler can. And then it comes out, and then it goes over, and it just barely gets by our torsion bar. And then that's the catalytic converter. And basically the purpose of that is that you can see the catalytic converter grid from the end of the exhaust. So when you're doing tech inspection, you can verify that your catalytic converter is legal, street legal. So, and then everything they did is quick release, so I think it's only 3 or 4 bolts and this whole exhaust will drop down so the car can be maintained. And they put it on isolators for me. So that'll be pretty sweet. Loud, it'll be just sick. And let's see, what else? So you can ignore these are the wrong size, as I found out the hard way, but we got to get our shocks installed and then figure out where to mount the shock reservoir. I'm hoping I can like clamp the shock reservoir up in this channel and then just get a long enough hose that it won't cause problems. But over here, you can see we have an oil cooler in the way, and we still haven't figured out how to protect this oil cooler from impacts because this trailing arm moves. So I might have to mount a skid plate on the trailing arm that comes back and protects this oil cooler, because you have to have this or you'll melt your transaxle. And this transaxle just can't handle the horsepower without an oil cooler. So, I mean, I feel like I could so this will be gone. I'm replacing this with a slim version that's like starts here and goes this way. So this paddle will be gone. So I'm thinking that I can run the shock hose from up here and run it around, and watch out for the limit strap, and then run the reservoir right here in this channel. And I know that's not good for the shock hose, but it's a braided line, just like your brake lines. And your brake lines turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, turn left, So if braided brake lines can handle it, then a shock reservoir is going to be able to handle it. A braided shock line. You can see I have my fuel return line. Yeah, already plumbed to the gas tank. The inlet line is still loose. I need somebody to help me hold this nut back here so that I can tighten it down in the car. And then I need to pull this back down and try and jam an LS size fuel pump in this little tiny, 4-cylinder fuel pump hole. Luckily, fuel pump technology's come a long way, so I think we'll be okay. And then the fuel line actually comes out the top here, so I need to find a way to cover this sharp edge, even though Porsche didn't bother, they just shipped it. It's nice of them. So I'm gonna cover this with like rubber trim or something and glue it in, and then the fuel line will shoot straight up and it will go straight into there. So we'll have our fuel system done, except the electrical, because I hate electrical. We got our axles rebuilt, that's why they're not in the car. Ecotech actually rebuilt these axles for me with off-road boots. So the axles had like boots that were internal style boots, and they were not going to hold up off-road, as we found out the hard way when I was trying to load the car on the trailer. So Ecotech put on these custom off-road boots onto these axles. They had to rebuild the whole axle to do it, obviously. So it's better than destroying a $500 axle, because I'm pretty sure they're $500 each. They're just complete highway robbery for these German parts. We got some panel repairs to do. We got all these bushings, all this junk, and this junk's got to be replaced with Solid and Delrin and the new torsion bar. We're going to drill a hole, or probably just cut this part out and make sure you can get to the torsion bar quickly. I wish I could get rid of the torsion bar. I just can't afford that level of work right now. I'm gonna see if I can get this loose so I can get this thing off of here. I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything, but it just looks bad. I'm never gonna fix the e-brake, because it's just not worth my time. I might reinforce my tow hooks, because you can see they bent just towing it to St. Louis and back, which is only an hour or so. So, this used to be straight, and it's not anymore. So obviously this wouldn't do shit if I needed it in an emergency. Granted, you could just hook onto these. The problem is this is very close to your bumper, so you'd probably smash up the bumper trying to recover it. So I don't know. I'm really disappointed in how pathetically weak these are for the price they were, because they're custom fit to your Porsche. Yeah, I mean, we got a long way to go. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I need to, so you can see these wonderful German, there's no pinch weld, and you're not supposed to use the frame because the previous owner used the frame and this is what happened. And I've had to use the frame before too in a pinch. And so now my floor's kind of bowed in a little bit. I probably should go up in the car and just jump on the floor and bow it back down. But I need to clean all this up and weld a reinforcement plate in here. And then I need to weld foot plates in here so the car can be jacked up safely with like a floor jack. Because right now it's not even really that safe to have it on the lift. I mean, it's safe, but it's not like OCD safe, as you can see there. I had to kind of improvise because this pad here on the frame is completely destroyed from somebody not using it properly. Man, what else? I don't know. There's a lot of work to do, and I can't really show you. Oh, I got to redo the connectors on the fan because someone thought bullet connectors were a good idea. And bullet connectors are not waterproof, contrary to popular belief, so those will have to be replaced and wired into the LS's electrical system properly. Probably won't do two-stage. I'll probably just do on or off at 180 degrees or 190 degrees or whatever. Haven't decided if I'm going to remove the fan shroud or not. Some people say it helps, some people say it hurts. Nobody has the same answer, of course. I might come back and replace these coolant lines. You can see they're just slightly undersized, but the problem is that it's the right size for the LS but the wrong size for this radiator, even though this radiator is for the LS swap. Wonderful. So yeah, there's a lot of work left and I need help. I can't do it by myself. Probably gonna pull out the washer fluid tank and put an air filter in this spot instead, where it'll be protected. I mean, once I put the fender liners back in or Rhino line them or whatever, I haven't decided yet. This will be clean, cold air coming in from the front. I might try and dam this up better so the air gets better pressure through the radiator. Honestly, I'm probably going to put the oil cooler right here behind these bars. I just have to make sure I don't put it behind this, or I might even cut this out or not even put this bumper back on. I mean, it looks pretty bad without it. I might cut it up or maybe find an aftermarket one. But again, the Porsche tax is ungodly. 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price of what it should cost just because it's for a German car. It just makes me sick to my stomach every time I look at the prices. Let's see. I don't know if I showed you guys my emergency fuel cutoff. So it's not wired up, but this will be like an emergency switch. So if I crash the car and somebody's running up behind me, they can flip the switch and shut the power off to shut the electrical system off. Because, for example, if the car flips over, then it'll shut off automatically because it'll have a safety, oil pressure safety. But, for example, if you just crash down a hill, the electrical system's going to keep going if you get knocked out. So it's good for somebody on the outside of the car to be able to quickly disable the vehicle. And I know a lot of people don't like doing an external switch because some asshole could walk up behind your car and shut it off while you're about to start your race. But, I mean, that's what fists are for. So, I didn't say that out loud, but... And then, where are my... yeah, they're shoved back here behind all of this mess, but... I still got my rally tires. They're not dry rotting yet, but they're probably not gonna make it another year. So I really need to get this car done, or I basically threw $1,000 of tires in the trash. So yeah, it's gonna look good. It's tempting to put them on the car purely for the looks when I'm recording videos, but I don't want to screw up. Well, I mean, I'm going to be driving off-road, so I guess scratches on those wheels is kind of a moot point. moot point. It'd be so cool if I could find a way to like change over the center cap somehow, like glue the center cap to the new wheels. It looks so tacky. These are gonna be my street tires, so I'm gonna put really nice, you know, 200 AAA street tires on these so the car can be driven to work every day. Because driving a truck to work is stupid. It's a waste of money. But yeah, anyway, that was Watt Suspension for the custom off-road rally coilovers for less than half the price of anyone else. And they have a hill climb championship at Pikes Peak, so they're, you know, they're actually a good company and they did a good job and they're very helpful. And then of course Ecotech Import Auto in St. Louis for beautiful TIG welded stainless steel racing exhaust. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I love this dump. Oh, it's gonna be so loud. So loud, just blah 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 blah. Oh man, I can't wait. I just want to fire the engine. Just want to fire the engine. Oh, and I need to 3D print a cover for this, or probably just buy one and glue it in. Don't want sand getting in there. Which is why I got a block off plate, which is probably gonna get siliconed because it really doesn't have a good, well, that's a water drain, but this, all of this should not be, you know, what else? Yeah, look at those beautiful, beautiful welds. Oh, yes. Oh yeah, love it, love it. No kinks, just all free flowing, smooth. I just can't stop staring at it. Oh, I just love it. I love that dump. Just blah, 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 blah. It's gonna be, people are just gonna be like giving me dirty looks every minute of every day that I drive this car around town. Especially because the exhaust sound will bounce off the pavement behind the car and it'll be loud. Let's just keep it at that. It'll be loud. Along with the 7,500 RPM red line with all the racing components in the engine and the comp cam that rumbles like, oh man. Basically the comp cam doesn't even really do anything until over 2,000 RPM. So anything below that's just a choppy, undrivable rumble. It'll be glorious. Just glorious. But again, I need somebody over here to help me out. Everybody's busy and I'm busy and then I'm not busy and they're busy and they're not busy and I'm busy and, you know, life. Oh, isn't life wonderful? So, yeah. I don't know, I guess I wasted 18 minutes and 18 seconds of your time so far, so do I need to waste any more? Probably not. So let's just end with thank you so much for watching, and I will be bringing you some Porsche videos soon here at Speed Freak Garage, home of power sports on YouTube.
Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car, nothing can